What was with the pink jerseys today?
Oh, a couple guys lost. Could you read them?
I couldn't.
Oh, okay. They lost at something, so they had to wear that as a punishment.
Like a team bonding thing?
Oh, leave it out, Doug.
Well, I asked you about team bonding 2 weeks ago, so I wanted to
exactly.
circle
It
that.
doesn't matter. They lost about something. They had to wear a pink thing.
All right. All right.
I don't need you making a big story about that.
Soccer thing they lost at?
No,
Brad Guzan, team bonding resulted in.
exactly. Me not wearing a pink shirt.
There you go. So, you're facing a team that just scored 7 goals.
Yeah.
Y'all have fairly consistently had some individual errors that have led to goals against you. How do you kind of deal with those two mental things coming into Saturday?
Yeah, I think when you look at where they're at in terms of the result they're coming off of, we need to be together. We need to be collective. We need to defend together. You talk about individual errors, but it stems from a collective mindset, and so we need to make sure first and foremost that mindset is the appropriate approach in terms of that togetherness, that defensive mentality. And listen, when we do that, then more times than not, we've been pretty good.
Is it, in that vein, is it, y'all aren't scoring right now either, but is it more about shoring up the defense first and then working back up the field?
No, I think. Listen, I think when you defend well, you get chances. You create chances. When we're cohesive and together and solidified, and we're limiting spaces for the opposition to play in, then that's when we're at our best going forward. And so we need to be able to do that. With that being said, yeah, when we get in the attacking third and we get chances, we've got to punish teams. We've got to put the ball in the back of net.
How many goals is Sydney going to score today in the media match?
Oh, I didn't know that was on the books today.
Yes.
Okay. Everyone here against?
He's not playing. I'm not playing either.
You don't get to ask. You don't get to ask questions. You don't get to ask questions if you're not playing. Who are you guys playing?
Other media.
Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Spicy.
Yeah. Brett.
Some really bad soccer.
Right story on that.
Yeah, you're kind of in this bad run of form as a team collectively. I feel like Doug kind of asked you about this already, but how do you keep that, positive mindset, even in this time period? I mean, that's the fact that you're playing at home. I mean, that kind of hopefully give you all a boost tomorrow against Nashville in the derby too.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we hope so. Every time we play at the Benz, we're lucky for the support that we get, the atmosphere that's created, and we don't take that for granted by any means. And so we want to make sure that we give our fans something to cheer about, something to yell about in a good way. And so, going back to the first part of the question and the mindset, listen, you've got to be able to move on and move on in a good way, whether it's a good result and now you need to go again and get another good result, or a bad result and you've got to find a way to get a good result. And so it's you've got to be mentally strong. You've got to be able to stay level-headed and not get too down or too high. And so you've got to make sure you try and get as many of those guys in that same boat, in that same position. And listen, obviously everyone's different when it comes to dealing with difficult situations, dealing with good situations. And so you try and get as many guys in that mindset of, right, we move on to the next, and this is what we have to do.
I remember a few years ago, you all played them up in Nashville in the Baptist delay that was like 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
Dom scored at the death to give you all a draw at the end, and Walker Zimmerman after the match, he said, it seems like every time you all play, something weird happens. Do you fancy maybe something else happening tomorrow that maybe kind of outside the norm? Or
no idea. No idea. Can't predict the future. All I know is we've got to do the things that make us a good team. And like I said, defensively, we need to be compact. We need to be together. And when we do that, like I said, we tend to then go and turn those opportunities into attacking transitions and be able to create things and at the end of the day, finish and put the ball in the back of the net.
What are some things that Nashville does really well? How are you guys going to get above that and get big points tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at them, obviously their wingers play really narrow. It's almost like a 4-2-2-2. So the wingers play really narrow, but at the end of the day, they run. They work hard. They run and beyond. They get numbers in the box. I mean, you look at some of their chances the other night. Obviously, the goals they scored, but even outside of the goals, they've got guys that are willing and able to run and stretch you, and you've got to be able to deal with that. You've got to be able to get someone around Mukhtar who obviously makes them tick and is good on the ball, can pick a pass, and so these are all things that we know, we understand, and they're very similar to every other team, right? I mean, you look at the teams in this league, and most teams have one or two guys that are really key components for how teams want to play, and Nashville is no different. And so we've got to make sure we're up for the challenge.
You're working with Strong for Life, and you did an interview talking about resilience. How important has resilience been in your career? Yeah,
it's huge. I mean, listen, when you talk about mentality and mental health, and you talk about resilience, it's not always easy, and especially at this level in the professional environment, there's obviously a lot of eyes that are on you at all times, and so it's nice when things are going well, and it's it's easy, right, and you can accept all the plaudits and all the praise, but when things aren't going well, you've got to be able to stand up to it. You got to have broad shoulders and accept the criticism, but at the same time not let it eat you away, and you've got to be strong enough to have that support system around you, whether it's your teammates, your coaches, family, friends, being able to get away from the game and switch off, and at the end of the day, everyone in that locker room is human, and so as I talked about the mentality side, it's the human aspect, and everyone deals with that differently, and you want to make sure that in difficult moments you're there to support your teammates, you're there to support the guys around you, and knowing that they're going to do the same for you.
When were you able to kind of learn how to filter out the negative stuff and just kind of focus on the positives in you? What was that moment for you?
When I stopped reading all the stuff you're writing.
That's fair.
I'm kidding. Listen, I think it comes with experience. I think it comes with trials and tribulations. When for me, a big moment, a life-changing moment was when I had kids, and I used to take home training, whether it was a small-sided game, whether it was a game on the weekend, a league game or whatnot, and I would take that home with me, and they would eat at me, and I would think about it nonstop, and then all of a sudden you have kids, and you put life into perspective, and especially as you get older, and your friends, they go through difficult moments, your family members, they get older, parents get older, and so when you look at what we do and how fortunate we are to be out here and be a professional athlete, I've always said there's no greater job in the world, and so when you put everything into perspective, life's okay, and I know it's not great in terms of on the field results, but when you put it into perspective in life terms, my kids are healthy, my wife is healthy, I'm healthy, my family members are healthy, and my friends, it's that type of outlook, I think, that changes then how you deal with situations on the field.
I know you don't wish poor mental health on anyone, but do you see enough fire, the opposite side, the thing you've learned how to handle from the guys about what's going on right now?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think when you look at our roster, when you look at our team, guys have played all over the world. Guys have played for their national teams. Guys have played in Europe, played in South America. They've played all over. And so when you have guys that have gone through those experiences, you want to believe, and when you look at them, you say, yeah, okay, they know how to handle this, and we can handle this, and this isn't going to last forever, and we're going to come out of this stronger as a group and as individuals, and it'll be okay. And so our job now as a group and as a team is to now go into tomorrow and make tomorrow the start of that ability to come out of this difficult period.
Besides you, who's been kind of the leader in the locker room kind of during this difficult stretch that you've seen maybe step up, or maybe is that the issue, there isn't another leader?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think everyone, we talk about this quite regularly in terms of leaders, and I know Dax has had his say, and you know, you when you talk about leading and being a leader, there's different ways to lead, right? And I'm a shouter, I'm an organizer, I'm a talker, sometimes for good, sometimes for bad. That's just how I am as an individual, and not everyone's like that, and that's good, that's fine. There's guys in there that lead by example. They lead with their professionalism. They lead with little small one-to-one conversations. And when you have guys that lead in different ways, I think that's important, because just as the same that, as I said, where not everyone's the same mentally and you know, able to deal with things the same way, it's the same when it comes to leadership and being reciprocal to that information that they're giving you, right? And how do you take that information on board? Somebody needs an arm around them. Somebody maybe needs a kick up the backside. Somebody needs a yelling. Somebody needs a one-to-one conversation in the ice bath. You know, it's these types of things are constant and are happening, and I think that's a good thing.
What happens, I guess, like, especially in a game, like, if you lead by example, that's one thing, but you need someone to kind of be yelling and kind of making sure the guys are together when things aren't going right. So if there's like so many silent leaders,
Yep.
I guess.
No, for sure. And yeah, I mean, listen, I'm constantly challenging guys like Miggy and you know, Manu, and you know, you want essentially someone in the middle of the pitch as well, right? Whether it's Bartek or Clicky or Derek, and challenging these guys to say, hey, we need more. We need more communication on the field. We need more organization. We need more demand from each other. You know, when Miggs isn't running back and tracking a guy, all of a sudden it's, I'm going to lay into him when he comes back to defend a corner. And at the same time, we concede. I know he's going to do the same. And I think you've got to be able to deal with those situations with broad shoulders, and you've got to be able to take that information on board. And I think sometimes we don't deal with that in the best way as individuals, and that's a challenge that we try and push guys on a daily basis out here.
So you mean like maybe too silent in those moments, or not speaking when it's actually happening?
Not so much when I guess so, right? When it's happening in the game. And listen, the game at times is a million miles an hour, right? It's a bang bang play, and you don't have time to say, hey, slide to your right, and then, you know, press it or whatever. It's like you got to look, you got to know, and you got to go, and it's go go go. It's super short and brief, and you've got to be able to try and get those messages across as best you can. But again, those conversations that are happening in a game, you know, for 90 plus minutes, you know, probably need to be more often, more urgency, and we need to continue to put more demand on each other.
All right. Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, guys. Good luck in the game.